For me, I think the biggest thing that football taught me was how to overcome adversity.
At some point in your life, you're going to have some tough times.
You have to have that next play mentality.
That cohesiveness and that working together, that's really something special that you can't get in a lot of other areas.
When you practice that and you live that in other phases of your life, it becomes second nature because all you know how to do is fight.
It's not an easy game. If it were easy, everyone would do it.
You start to appreciate the smaller contributions that people make. You don't just look at the big one because you knew it took 6 or 7 other guys who are unsung.
And you know, you can't take shortcuts and be successful.
Doing what they do to make it possible for the guy getting the press clippings or whatever it might be.
In this game, whether it's as a coach or a player.
So I would certainly say that you know, you definitely got a very quick lesson in how to overcome adversity playing football.
And don't forget to check out and order your copy of our latest book, Stiff Arming Football Myths. You can find this available in both paperback and PDF form on our website at footballgameplan.com/books. Alex Smith is entering his 11th season in the NFL, and while he's more than capable, the hope is that he takes more calculated risk in the passing game. You want Smith to start to stretch down the field vertically a little bit more in 2015. If Kansas City is able to do so, it opens up the entire offense and makes them even tougher to defend. Now, like Chase Daniel, I feel as though he's more than capable to lead this team over an extended period of time if need be. Good backfield here in Kansas City. Jamal Charles ran for over 1,000 yards last season, but what's important and the biggest quietly about his game is that over the course of his 7-year career, he's never rushed for less than 5 yards a carry. So if history is of any indication, he'll do the same this season. Now Davis and Charcandrick West are good compliments to Charles, and DeAnthony Thomas could also see time in the backfield on occasion, and in my opinion, he should be a tailback full-time, but I digress. Now, when you look at the fullback position, the Chiefs have a really good one in Anthony Sherman. This is where I have some serious questions about the Chiefs. Gone is Dwayne Bowe, and in comes Jeremy Maclin from the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Maclin is expected to be the quote-unquote guy. In my opinion, he's more of a 2 or a number 3, so that means either Albert Wilson, Jason Avant, or even rookie third-round pick Chris Conley has to do enough to where teams will start to shade coverage away from Maclin. DeAnthony Thomas made the move to receiver this offseason, and he's going to be more of a quote-unquote move piece in the slot. And I do like undrafted free agent Kenny Cook out of Gardner-Webb. He'd be a good big-bodied wide receiver to play inside, but overall, there's a wait-and-see type of approach for me with this group. The tight end position is in much better shape in my opinion. Travis Kelce led the team in receiving last year and may have a breakout season in 2015, creeping close or probably going over 1,000 yards. 5th round pick James O'Shaughnessy out of Illinois State was one of my favorite prospects in the draft, and as a move flex guy, he could have a good rookie season, complementing Kelce as the number 2. Now, Richard Gordon provides quality depth as the 3rd tight end. Kansas City is expecting a lot out of this unit this season as some reshuffling is going on, and first and foremost, 3rd-year left tackle Eric Fisher is expected to raise his level of play and become the stalwart player that made him the 1st overall pick back in 2013. Right tackle Donald Stevenson can play guard if need be, so he does have the athleticism and the versatility that you want from an offensive lineman, and the same can be said for guard Jeff Allen, who will get the start next to Stevenson. 2 new guys on the interior in left guard Ben Grubbs, who comes over from the New Orleans Saints and still has some good seasons left in him, and 3rd-year player Eric Cush at center. Now, many question Cush's ability, but in my opinion, I believe he has the skills and will not only do well, but become a standout up front. Laurent Duvernay-Tardif in year 2 looks like he's made some significant strides in his game from a strength perspective, as well as Zach Fulton. Rookie 2nd-round pick Mitch Morse and Derek Sherrod provide quality depth at tackle and at center. Morse is a guy that can play tackle, but is moving to the inside and playing center for Kansas City. I think this group will be better than expected.
I love football. I cannot get enough of football. I watch it on every level.
The emotional release. You know, whether it's an exciting play that gets you all jacked up and juiced, or whether it's the fact that you're able to pour everything you have. Whatever frustration you had that week, you can put into that first kickoff coverage, that first block that you have, whatever it might be.
And I couldn't think of anything better to do to fill that void that you have as a football player than to get into coaching.
You get a chance to release a lot of emotion that you otherwise have no place to release. There's nothing else like that.
Again, the relationships you build and the people you're around, and watching the guys compete, not just on the football field, but in life after they get done playing. It's just an amazing game.
I like the Chiefs' defensive line. They are both deep and talented. Nose tackle Don Terry Poe, defensive ends Allen Bailey and Jay Howard played some really good ball last season. Now as Mike DeVito returns from injury and is inserted back into the starting defensive end spot, it only strengthens this group as a whole. The depth here, like I mentioned, is impressive with Mike Catapano, Nick Williams, and 2 rookies, and 6th-round pick Rakeem Nunez-Roches out of Southern Miss, and undrafted free agent Charles Tuau out of Texas A&M Commerce. This is a really good unit up front for Kansas City. Arguably the best unit on this defensive side of the football is the linebacking core. Both Tamba Ali and Justin Houston are consistent threats coming off the edge. Houston turned in an all-pro season last year with 22 sacks. Inside linebacker Josh Mauga led the team in tackles with 103. 84 of those are solo stops. 11-year vet Derek Johnson, in my opinion, doesn't get old, and despite virtually missing all of 2014 with an injury, he's back at 100% and should continue to excel inside. Second-year man D Ford started to come on late last season and figures to see more playing time this year in sub packages. Kansas City also invested in the future at inside linebacker with both Ramik Wilson out of Georgia and DJ Alexander out of Oregon State in the draft. Now, because of the ability to play inside and outside backer, Alexander, I believe, could find himself working in rotation in the regular defense. James Michael Johnson and Frank Zomba are good depth guys and core special teamers along with Josh Martin. The potential with this group is outstanding. One, getting Eric Berry back on the field in any capacity is a huge plus. He's a tremendous leader and player, and by the midpoint of the season, he should have his football legs back. On the corner, Sean Smith will be suspended for the first 3 games of the season, but once he returns, he'll be able to build on a strong 2014 campaign. Where the Chiefs got better is at the other cornerback spot. In the draft, KC selected, in my opinion, the best corner in the draft in Marcus Peters out of Washington. Peters reminds me a lot of Charles Woodson. He can press, he can play off, he can tackle, and has the ball skills that you look for. I'm also a big fan of second-year man Philip Gaines out of Rice. Gaines will more than likely be the slot corner, but possesses the skills to also play on the outside. Both Jamil Fleming and rookie Steven Nelson out of Oregon State provide depth with Marcus Cooper. Now at safety, strong safety Ron Parker looked really good last season and has locked down the strong safety spot, and Kansas City brought in the solid veteran Tyvon Branch from the Oakland Raiders to back him up. Hussein Abdullah also played extremely well, and now that Berry is back in the fold, KC can get creative on the back end. I think kicker Cairo Santos will be much better from 40 yards plus going into year 2. You'll see the Santos we saw set records back at Tulane. One of the best punters in the game, and Dustin Colquitt averaged 45 yards a punt last season. And I also wouldn't worry about the return game, as both DeAnthony Thomas and Now Davis are extremely dangerous in that capacity. KC also has one of the best coverage units in football. Safety Daniel Sorensen and outside backer Josh Martin are guys that excel here. I have Kansas City finishing 4th in the AFC West. The run game and defense will give KC a shot each and every week, and they'll be very tough to move the ball against this season. But in my opinion, at least right now, I see their passing game being a hindrance, enough to where they're going to become one-dimensional. If that gets figured out and they're able to strike balance, then they'll be just fine. But right now, we'll have to wait and see. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Chief Fan Forums for always showing football game plan support.